the Austrian Alps, there is a very special creek. While above the water's surface, the extreme Austrian winter freezes everything. Underneath it all remains untouched. Thermal springs keep this creek warm throughout all seasons. This water comes from deep below the Austrian Alps, and its temperature stays relatively stable between 25 to 29 degrees Celsius. This just so happens to be ideal for some very special inhabitants. In this creek, there are fish from all over the world. Species originally from tropical places have found a hospitable environment in this stream. Here you can find aquatic creatures from at least 4 different continents. In this video, we will take an intimate look into the secret lives of these fish, learning about their behavior and life cycle. But first, let's not ignore the obvious. How did fish from all over the world end up here? The locals claim they came from an aquatic plant farm that used this creek's water over 40 years ago. However, it is likely that over the last few decades, local fish keepers have released aquarium fish into these waters, and some of them are still thriving today. Below the steaming water surface, this creek is teeming with life. One of its most unusual inhabitants must be the Yellow Lab Cichlid. This fish, originally from Lake Malawi in East Africa, are thriving in this alpine creek. Just like in its native habitat, here they can find large boulders and beds of Vallisneria to hide in. However, here the water flows much faster than in Lake Malawi, so they seek areas with less current. This cichlid is a mouth brooder. The females carry the fry in their mouths for up to 4 weeks. During this period, they won't eat anything. Swimming amongst the yellow labs, there are jewel cichlids. This fish originates from West Africa, where it inhabits shallow streams and canals. This fish grows to a maximum of 15 centimeters and is a territorial species. They like to establish their territories within and around rock crevices. When these fish are ready to breed, their colour intensifies, going from a dull yellow to a spectacular red. The juveniles are less territorial and can be seen in small groups. Lurking in every shot, there is a convict cichlid, the most common fish in this creek. Named for its contrasting black vertical stripes reminiscent of prison uniforms. But don't let their appearance fool you. Convict cichlids are notorious for their aggressive and territorial nature, especially during breeding season. Speaking of breeding, convict cichlids are prolific spawners. Females can lay hundreds of eggs, which they fiercely guard alongside their mate. Here, this pair has chosen a strategic place for their nest, sheltered by rocks. It's a success. The nest has plenty of fry, but it has caught everyone's attention. Every fish on this creek wants a taste of their freshly hatched babies. protecting them is a full-time job. Both the male and the female stand guard fearlessly protecting the nest from any intruders, no matter how large. And there are plenty of them here. At the same time, they must herd any lost fry back to the nest and ensure they find food. It's this incredible parenting effort that makes them so successful and abundant in this creek. This creek isn't only home to exotic fish species. The native fish also enjoy the warm water. The open areas of the creek are like highways for the native fauna. One of the species seeking this warm water during the freezing winter is the common chub. This species is the most abundant native fish in here. Swimming along the common chub, you can see the Crucian carp, a native fish closely related to the popular goldfish. So it is no surprise to see feral goldfish swimming alongside them. On the wider areas of the creek, you can even spot the European perch. Schooling up and down the creek, you can find plenty of common bleak. They're most seen around the denser vegetation. Talking about aquatic plants, the plants here are just as exotic as the fish. The most abundant plant here is the Vallisneria. It forms large beds that cover over 50% of this creek. Who knows what other fish species could be hiding in it? In the shallower areas, you can find a type of cryptocoryne. Plants from this genus originate from Asia. These plants offer protection for the young of all fish species. However, some of the fish here are so small that even the adults must take cover. Hiding amongst the Vallisneria is the smallest of the exotic fish in here. The platy, originally from South America, here they have lost the vibrant colours you might know them for. Instead, they are a light grey colour that perfectly camouflages in these surroundings. Every time you investigate this creek, you might find something new, since some species here are less abundant. Take, for example, this Mangano cichlid. You never know what you might find next. Lurking in the background of a lot of these clips, there was a fish that you might have noticed. The bristle-nosed pleco, originally from South America. Here it can be seen grazing on logs, rocks, and the substrate, although it is one of the shyer fish here. Also on the substrate, you can find plenty of Malaysian trumpet snails. If you know where this creek is, or know any other place like this, I would like to remind you that releasing pet fish into the wild is irresponsible and illegal. Fishing here is also forbidden. We do not condone the release of invasive species into the wild. However, in this case, the damage is already made, and luckily, the scientific research shows it didn't harm the native species. Since the water gets too cold further down the creek, these tropical species are unlikely to spread.
Hey, if you made it this far and you are wondering who's behind the camera, it's me. I film, edit and write these videos, and I have a friend doing the voiceover, but I need to ask you a question. Should I keep using your voice or should I use mine? If you've been subscribed to this channel, you might have noticed that the quality of this video is much better, and for that I have to thank MPB. MPB has provided me with a new camera that I've paired with this housing, and honestly, what a difference it is. Before, I really struggled to film underwater and in low light, and now with this camera I can film pretty much anywhere. And yeah, I really want to thank MPB for helping me with this video, making this video possible. And if you're interested in selling your kit or buying a used camera, please check the link down below. You can find this exact camera on MPB and other products that you can take to your next adventure.